Alright, so good evening, good afternoon to everyone. Today we'll be ranking all 80 heroes in Kingdom Rush, starting from the first game all the way up until the final game. I've also added all the secondary heroes just because I decided that it would be more fun if we also have them. I will also try to be like as short as possible during my rankings since we do indeed have 80 heroes to rank and it will take quite a while if I try to explain every single spot. So I'll just go over the main points about each hero and I guess that this is how we will rank all the heroes for this live stream. Okay, so starting off, we have Sir Gerald, the first hero that you ever unlock or used. I think that he is easily either B or A tier. Like for now, I would stick with B tier just because he's an excellent tank and all. Yeah, but he doesn't really contribute as much as some of the other A tier heroes, which we'll get to shortly. So yeah, basically, he has the highest EHP in the game, which is just crazy to think about. So maybe I'll consider on ranking him A tier, but for now, I think that B should suffice. Hello, hello to everyone. Glad to see you guys here. Okay, so now we have Ageria, which we don't really need to explain that much. Like that's an easy F tier. Uh, Non-existent damage can only spawn a cat, like for the cat especially. I guess she's worthy of the S tier, but I'll try to keep this list real. So yeah, no explanations needed. Next we have Malik. Well, Malik he's either D or C tier. For now, just stick with D tier since he does have, I guess, some alright area damage. Also, the stun that he occasionally does is okay in itself. He also dies quite easily. Demons can counter him as well. Well, he doesn't really have a whole lot going on for him, so I'll just stick with the D tier for now. Next we have Bowling, and well, I also try to rank the heroes in each tier separately. So I guess some might say that he's even worse than Algeria, because at least she can summon a unit, and he doesn't even have that. His DPS is non-existent. His mines, although dealing around, I don't know, maybe like 60 to 80 damage. Well, how often is that even going to land on an enemy that you want it to land? Not really that occasionally, I would say. So easy F tier. Now we have a decent hero finally. We have Magnus. I guess for now stick with the A tier, paired with one of the star upgrades, which allows him to lower enemies' armor, especially with his arcane blast, like the one where he summons a lot of magic missiles from the sky. This one especially can really help support your strategy. If you lack any, I guess, mages, Magnus can solve that problem for you. So yeah, really influential hero, easily deserved of A tier ranking. Now we have Ignis. I think that Ignis needs no introduction, so I will just straight up place him in S tier. Like you have insane mobility with him. He can also regen by himself. Insane area damage, true damage. Like he only does true damage, which is just crazy to think about. Um, like what else? You also have one of the most busted abilities, like he'll just retarget any enemies with his instant throw ability, if you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, basically, you can pretty much beat the whole game with just Ignis and I guess some support options. Like you need something to deal with the flank enemies, and Ignis will be able to deal with everybody else. He can also basically even solve bosses if you micro him enough. So yeah, easy S tier for me. Next we have King Dinas. King Dinas is a little bit awkward to rank like he's probably on par with Sir Gerald, since he does in fact have the highest range DPS in the whole of Kingdom Rush, like the first game. His main cases they can help you to think about him is that he dies very easily. He's also quite slow. And, well, He's just mainly used to deal with the flying enemies, is what I'm thinking. So for that reason, he can be an excellent hero, but for the time being, I don't know. I'll just leave him at B tier. I think that Magnus with the teleport is more useful than him. Hey everyone, what's you here? Next we have Iwara. So Iwara, she's definitely on par with Ignis. It's a little bit hard to decide which one of them is like the stronger, since Iwara does also have that ranged damage, so she can deal with flank enemies as well, while Ignis is I guess, the ground enemy slayer. Wow, Iwara is like more of a utility hero. Like you also have the slow effects, the occasional stun. She can also freeze the path from time to time. And well, basically, she's just really helpful in that regard. But yeah, so I think that for these reasons, she's easily an S tier hero. I'll leave her a little bit behind Ignis for now. So yeah, no further introduction needed. Next we have I actually forgot his name. I almost said one of the origins name, but yeah, the Viking guy, the one who can transform into a bear, like he's easily the best tank in Kingdom Rush. If you micro him, he can basically stay on the field an infinite amount of time. He can block bosses who don't have insta kills for as long as you need. Well, he's basically like Sir Gerald, with the exception that he cannot return damage. So his overall DPS is slightly lower than that of Gerald, but at the same time you also have the Vikings that he spawns. So uh, he can act as a barrack, which is definitely helpful in a lot of scenarios. So I will leave him around this placement for now. We'll see if I decide to change it a little bit later, but for now I think that B tier is alright for him. Next we have Haxo, which is quite an interesting hero to rank due to the fact that, well, he doesn't really have a whole lot going on for him. Well, he's one of the tankier heroes, definitely. I think that he's actually the tankiest one in Kingdom Rush, with the exception of Sir Gerald. But we don't really count Sir Gerald, since, he can reflect 80% of the enemy's attacks that he gets. So, yeah, but the thing about him is that he has a really useful insta-kill, and in some challenges, it's definitely um, helpful and vital to use him, since he'll get the job done way better than the rest of the heroes. Like, for example, if you are going to play some of the winter stages, the throw breakers or even the swamp things, um, Haxel can basically insta-kill them and you will not need to worry about them anymore. So that's why I think that at least he deserves a B tier. He's not that spectacular of a hero per se, but he definitely has its uses. Next we have Oni. Oni is like an easy A tier, I think. Insane DPS, insane burst damage, also true damage. What more do you even need? He also has that area damage to help you out. Basically a 1v1 monster. Like if you need to stop an enemy, Oni is the guy for you. He can shred everyone. Even a Dark Scare, I think he can beat in a 1v1 battle. So yeah, easy A tier. Not as helpful as Iwara or Ignis, since he isn't as impactful as them, but his use cases can definitely be filled. And yeah, I don't really have anything more to say about Oni. He's just an excellent hero overall. Next we have Tortoris. I don't really know how to rank him exactly. He does have that occasional true damage, but the thing is, for it to trigger, you need to rely on luck, and I'm not huge fan of any RNG based abilities. He is quite tanky as well. He will be able to stall any enemy of your choice. He also has that ranged attack from time to time, which I guess paired with the stun can be helpful to some extent. But at the same time, I feel like that the heroes in the B tier are a little bit more useful than him. I mean, his DPS isn't that great, to be honest, but he's, well, the hero that is actually the closest to him is Progi Malik. Like you can compare them side to side, since both of their abilities are like area damage with a stun in it. But I think that Thor does it a little bit better than Malik. So for this reason, I'll leave him at C tier. Next, we have Tenshi, the best free hero in the game, Izzy. Like he has a second rain of fire, so what more do you even need? Like, should I even give him any other introduction? He can also turn into uh, big guy form, basically becoming invulnerable for like 12 seconds or something like that, even more if I'm not mistaken. Like, just make sure to have him at level 8 to get the duty of the Rain of Fire, and he will be able to pretty much take out every single enemy in the game, apart maybe from throw breakers and the force throws. I think that they're a little bit too much for him to handle, but his area damage is just insane and easily justifies him being A tier. Like, some people might even say that he's worthy of S tier, which I wouldn't really complain with. But for me, I will just place him at A tier for now. Next, we have the Frontiers heroes, which have some really broken ones and some really shitty ones. Starting off, we have Ulrich, which is basically like the Sir Geralt of Frontiers. But to me, I don't really know. Like, both of them are really useful in their own game. Like, I'm almost even considering putting Geralt in A tier, seeing Ulrich in the same tier as him. But well, he does in fact have a little bit less tanky abilities than Geralt because he doesn't have the Shield of Retribution, but at the same time he has the uh, Berserk aspect, the Three Sun Warriors that he occasionally summons, and his Fury of Swashes also happens quite often, so he can be microed to deal with any of the spawner enemies. Well, I don't know. I'm really considering on putting him in A tier, but for now, I I guess if I'm going to put Bruxa in S tier, I should probably also put Auric in the A tier. So okay, I think I'll probably just leave him in the A tier. Okay, so next we have Mirage, and Mirage, well, that is one of the easier heroes to rank, like an easy F tier. If she had an insta-kill ability which triggers 100% of the time, she will definitely be either B or C tier hero and definitely have her use cases, but the fact that it only triggers in like 10% of the time makes her super unreliable and work dependent. Her damage is basically non-existent. She cannot even deal with flying enemies reliably, and you're better off having any other hero rather than Mirage. Like even Nivus, he at least has the teleport. Like he cannot really block an enemy like Mirage. If you micro Mirage a lot, she can stall an enemy for quite a while with her dodge chance, but at the same time, well, she isn't really useful, at least to me. Like, yeah, okay, she deals some damage, but I don't think that it justifies her for the E tier placement. Next, we have Cronan. Cronan is definitely one of the worst heroes for me. Like, he's easily worse than Mirage due to the fact that, okay, he has the ego who can, target flank enemies. He also has the Stampede, which deals like 90 damage or even less, 60? They might be even less damage than that. He also summons two boars, which have like zero stats in all of them. So, like, he's an easy F tier for me. Like, there isn't a whole lot of use cases for him. His passive regen is non-existent, and he basically can die from every single enemy. So I don't really find a lot of use cases from him. Next we have Bruxa. Like, I don't really need to give her an introduction. Easy S tier, the best hero in Frontiers. Like, she's on par with one of the best ones. Not as powerful as Ilora or Ignis per se, but microing her a lot can basically make her unkillable. And she also has the 5 passive skulls around her and the 30% slow effect. 30% slow is like adding a 30% overall DPS to the whole field. Like this should not be underestimated in any shape or form. And her DPS mainly comes from the schools which float around her. Her Hex is also quite decent. She's the number one hero to deal with flank enemies. Like she'll make quick work of them. Doesn't matter like how much you send at her, she will be able to stop them. Like she has so much use cases. It's really easy to place her in S tier. At least that is my philosophy behind that. A tier Maxwell, I don't really know. She has too many use cases for her not to be S tier. Like flank enemies, they're just a joke for her. 30% slow should not be overlooked at all. What else? The skulls, they have around 80 DPS. I mean, it's magical. Okay, it's not true DPS, but at the same time, um, like super useful hero, and you cannot go wrong with Bruxa. I know that for some people, even Auric might be better than Bruxa, but at least for me, like, yeah, okay, Auric can deal with all of the annoying enemies like the Saurian Savants and the other annoying enemies like the what else? No, but the Boogie Elves. But like, you just get a tier 2 barrack with him, while Bruxer has insane DPS, the slow factor, the flank enemy eraser, like, I don't really need to explain a whole lot more for her. Next, we have Blackthorn, who directly goes into the B tier, like Prog is somewhere around here. Not as useful as Auric, but at the same time, his gold steel is just insane ability to have. Like, even some people might say that he's A tier, which I'm totally fine with. By the end of the stage, you'll probably have gained around 1,000 gold, if not more. Like, I haven't thoroughly tested it, but I feel like that this is the like somewhere around that number is the expected goal that you get, which can basically give you another tier 4 tower. So when using Blackthorn, he basically is like a tower and a hero in one, just because he will give you the funds to invest in that tier 4 tower. His Kraken ability is also quite nice, since you know he can like stall a couple of enemies for that small time, which can definitely be useful in some cases. Like his DPS isn't that big, but you're mainly using him for the gold gain. So I think that this is enough talk about him. Next we have Nivas. I think that Nivas will be the first hero I'll be ranking in E tier. He has the magic ability, like the magic type of damage, which is slightly better than the physical one, like Mirage. They both similarly have quite similar DPS, but at least Nivus has the teleport ability, so you can micro him way more reliably than Mirage. Um, I guess he's just slightly more useful than her, but at the same time doesn't provide you with a lot of things that you need for Frontiers especially. So I'll just settle on in tier for now. Next we have the Diedre. I don't even know how to pronounce the name. Well, she's probably the tankiest hero in Frontiers, but her use cases are really limited. The only useful ability that she has is the one which buffs the towers as damage. Like that ability is nice to have, but at the same time, how often are you really going to exploit it? Well, not that much to be honest. I guess she can be used to tank an enemy or two. She also has the teleport, which is always nice to have. And when you teleport her, I guess she also provides your allies with additional armor. But I don't think that this is justifiable for her to go any higher than D tier. So yeah, I think that this should be enough for her. Next we have Grow, who is the better tank than those two. He has the passive regen, but the two main things that make him better than the other, at least for me, is that at least he has the crystal punch, which deals true damage. I think it's around 180, if I'm not mistaken, which is definitely helpful. Like he will win most of the 1v1s. Like if you put him against a Saurian Brute, like yeah, sure, he'll die, but his main plan is just to place him on a choke point and get him to tank for the ranged enemies, and I guess provide some more stalling, since from time to time he has the one ability where he punches the ground a couple of times, and the stun effect is definitely useful. It's also like 4 to 5 seconds, which shouldn't really be neglected. And yeah, he definitely has way better damage than the other just because of the Crystal Punch. Really solid ability, one of the better ones in the game, and really helps his kit, you know. The main thing about him, just make sure to not move him too much. Like you just place him in a choke point and that's about it. Next we have Shatra, which as a child, I used to think that Shatra is S tier, but then I realized that he isn't as powerful as I originally thought he was. Like the UFO ability, it's a great insta-kill. It can also work for a couple of enemies, but most of the time you would want him to target one strong enemy, like a Saurian Brute or Abomination, or something similar like that. He also has that true damage, so he can deal with the Phantom Warriors and with the high armored enemies reliably. The thing is that he doesn't really have that huge of stats, like his HP isn't that much. His damage is okay, the drones he summons, he deals around 240 damage, which gets split up in a couple of enemies, which, well, it doesn't really contribute. Yeah, I guess it's a more DPS in his overall kit, but the main thing about Chatter is definitely the UFO. And yeah, I think that the UFO in itself is enough to rank him at B tier, but there are definitely better heroes than Shatter. Like, for example, I would rather use Ulrich than Shatter, since Ulrich at least can reliably deal with the annoying enemies, while Shatter, his UFO is a little bit work dependent. Like, you need to isolate the enemies really well for him to be usable hero. Well, I guess C tier could also work for him, but well, you know what? Actually, yeah, I'll leave him in C tier. We need some more heroes in that tier. So, yeah, definitely not as useful. Like, for example, we have Hacksaw, but the thing is that in Kingdom Rush, the insta-kill is definitely way more useful than that of Shatra for Frontiers. So, yeah, I guess this argument is valid. We will leave Shatra at C tier for now. Next we have Karkinos. Well, Karkinos, I don't really know what to say about him. The tankiest hero in Frontiers, okay. And what else? You have the occasional shot, which he performs dealing splash damage and slowing enemies from time to time. Like, how useful do you think that ability is? Well, it's definitely unreliable, since it also targets the enemies furthest away from him, which is what I've noticed. I'm even debating on putting him in a E tier, like next to Nivas, but at least he can move in the Sunken Citadel in the other map, which was like the two other maps. At least he has that use case, since only Boneheart, Karkinus, Saitama, and Ashbite can be used to traverse the water terrain. So I guess that, yeah, D tier is alright. Like, you just tank one enemy and that's about it. Um, Next we have the Kung Fu Master, which I actually forgot the name. Like, I'm not like Ant who knows the all 500 hero abilities. I'm just trying to figure out the names. But you know what he does. Nothing special. Whack of damage, whack of survivability. Yeah, Kutsao, thank you, thank you. I basically easy tier. I don't even know if he's better than Kirkinos. Like, they're so similar when it comes to both of them. Like, his abilities are super RNG dependent. I'm really torn apart between E and D tier. I guess he's slightly more useful than Nivas, since Nivas has next to no damage. Well, Kutsao, I guess, can stall one enemy reliably. Uh, I don't know, like the dragon, he also summons, it deals area damage, but like, how useful is it really? I don't know. Not huge fan of Kutsao, to be honest. So I'll just leave him at D tier for now. I guess he's slightly worse than Karkinos. Like these three heroes, they're so similar in power that it doesn't really matter which one you go for. And next we have finally a good hero. We have Dante, which easily goes at least for the B tier. He may be even on par with Ulrich, but I think that Ulrich has slightly more use cases than Dante. You know, the true bullet which deals 320 damage is definitely one of the abilities that makes Dante pop off. So, like, maybe being better than Gerald is a little bit too much. Like, yeah, somewhere around here is okay. His DPS is really high. He can deal with flank enemies reliably. He also has some utility abilities which remove enemy armor and so on. Super fun hero to use, great voice lines and so on. I think that B tier is justifiable for him just because of the damage output he has. I don't really know if he's for A tier. Like, yeah, his single target is definitely high, but I don't think that he deserves to be A tier. Like, for example, Ulrich has similar DPS to Dante, but at least he has way more survivability than Dante. So I think that B tier is justifiable for him. Next we have the bull guy. Like, what was his name again? God, I'm so bad with those names. I've almost never used him just because I find his abilities to be counterintuitive. Like most of the times, he'll just teleport one enemy that you don't want to see. Uh, like his placement is super awkward. He'll mess up a lot of your strategies. I guess skilled players will find use cases for him, but at least for me, I cannot really exploit him to the fullest potential. I'm debating on either C or D tier. I guess he also has the insta kill chance, right? If I'm not mistaken. Uh, I'm not really sure. Like, you know, the one where he uses his axe to slice at an enemy. I think it also has an insta kill chance. Like, yeah, okay, it does true damage, sure. I guess for the insta kill chance, he's alright in C tier. I don't know. Maybe like yeah, I would rather use Grow than him personally. Like I just don't find his abilities to be that useful. Like you need to micro him a lot to get his truest potential, which is unrealistic most of the times. So yeah, I personally really hate Cax, so I'll just leave him in C tier just so I don't hurt the tryhards who love using him. Next we have Saitam. Saitam definitely has his use cases, I guess. Definitely more reliable than those heroes, even this here as well. I don't know if he's more useful than Shatra per se. His DPS isn't a whole lot. His regen is alright actually. It helps him slightly more. I mean, if Cronen had similar regen like Saitam, Cronen might have been E tier, but since he doesn't, well, the thing about him is the Wrath of the God, like you know, the one which increases the damage of all your towers on screen. This ability is definitely busted, and I can really easily see why some people would even say that he is B tier hero. But well, that's the only thing going on for him. Like, you know, he just buffs your towers and that's about it. You also have the fast mobility with him and can help him traverse water since, you know, he's floating on a cloud, which is funny to see. But yeah, basically, Saitama is just one ability which helps you and well, that's about it. Nothing too much to say. Next we have Ashbite. Like I don't even know if I should put him in F tier. Like this is a dragon, you know, in an Ironhide game, and dragons are supposed to be overpowered, broken, beyond stupid, and we have Ashbite. Like that's not even a dragon. That's just blasphemy. Okay, let's be serious. Let's be serious. Maybe Seor Bittier. I think that he's definitely more useful than Shatra. He also has the insta kill chance, but his abilities are just better than that of Shatra. You cannot use him to stun any enemies, but at least the splash damage is nice. So yeah, I think that C tier should be okay for him. Like I'm satisfied with that spot. Yeah, okay. So you as well think that C tier is fine for him? Well, yeah, either low B or high C. I think that I'll just stick to high C for now. Next, we have Boneheart. Does he even really need any introduction? Like, we have one terrible dragon, and then we have another one which just shows how to be a proper hero. Like, he's even more accurate. Definitely can handle everything. Super busted abilities. The spikes are just insane. The Plague Carrier is probably the most broken hero ability in the whole franchise. Like, what more do I even need to say? Is he the best hero so far in the list? Well, like, insane DPS, insane area damage. You can pretty much handle most of the stages with just Boneheart alone. I guess you can add one or two battle mechas and you should be able to beat pretty much every single stage if you are struggling with a challenge. 99 out of 100 times, Boneheart will be the solution for you. Like, I don't even know what more to say. Also, his bone golems, you know, the dogs that he spawned, get he also they can get buffed by the necromancer. Like the Death Rider also buffs them. So yeah, I think that's just a funny thing to note. Okay, next, I also added the secondary heroes for some reason. I thought that it would be a fun idea, so we'll also rank them based on how useful they are for their stage respectively. So we have Rurin for his stage. He's alright, I guess. He's basically a free hero that you're using. So at least that's D tier. Like I will even say that he's better than all of those heroes, since you know you basically get him for free, and who doesn't like having additional heroes. So yeah, D tier, it's alright for him. Maybe I don't know. I'll just stick to D tier since you know we will have to rank the secondary heroes a little bit more different than the usual ones. Next, we have the Black Corsair, definitely one of the most broken secondary heroes. Really helps out on his stage in particular. I actually forgot what is his stage called, so excuse me for that. But like you have the area damage, you also have the sea mines. He's just super useful hero overall. I don't really know if he's justified for the A tier. Like maybe, yeah, somewhere around here, like in B tier, seems to be a good spot for him. You know, like he definitely helps you out in that stage in particular. So I think that this place is justified for him. And next we have Lucrezia. I think that Lucrezia is easily the best secondary hero that you have in the franchise. Like she's designed to deal with Vampiressa, which you encounter in uh, her stage. Like she's the number one counter to them, and Vampiressas are super annoying enemy to deal with. So I think that the A tier is a really easy spot for her. Like she also has great mobility. Like she basically has everything going on for her. You also have the wife steal, so she'll be able to survive for that much longer. Like there is nothing negative to say about her. Okay, so we ranked all the Kingdom Rush and Frontiers heroes. So now we'll jump to the origins, starting off with Eridan. Eridan, who we'll later compare with another hero. For a free hero and a starter one, he is definitely quite useful. I think that he should be, yes, somewhere around here. Yeah, middle of B tier. He is just a solid hero overall. Great survivability with his dodge chance. He also has an alright DPS, I guess. But if you need to stall one enemy, he'll get the job done. His hero spell is not that spectacular though. Like you just have small rain of arrow. Like nothing special about him. Next we have Feridan. Um, I mean Arivan, who I think is basically really similar in power to Aridan. Me personally, I enjoy using Arivan slightly more, just because he has a really wide kit of abilities. Like you have the fireballs. which I think deal either explosive or true damage. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. You also have the occasional freeze or the lightning bolt, which deals around 180 damage, which is a true damage as well. So I'm definitely a bigger fan of Arivan when compared with Teridan, but still, both of them are like in similar power. Uh, yeah, I think that this spot's alright for him. Also, his tornado is quite useful. Like it can deal with gummies and other things, and it's basically like a second lightning spell. Well, not as busted as the lightning, but it can definitely help you out in some key situations. The two heroes of Kingdom Rush 1 in S tier have no sense. They're good in the game because of the easy sum, but they're not really strong. I'm not really convinced by that point. I think that both of them are really busted and should be in S tier. Like they make your life so much easier. So I think that it's justified. Like you have Iwara, which has insane utility. You have Ignis, which can handle all ground enemies due to his true damage and insane area damage. So I think that the spots are justified. Next we have Kata, which is definitely a controversial hero to rank. Like I know that most people will say that she is A tier. Some will even go as far as to say that she is S tier, which I'm not really convinced on that. It's just because her utility is so insane. You have a 16 or 15. Like her hero spell has such a low cooldown and it basically acts as a 30% stun. The area is also quite big. Her damage isn't that huge, but you're mainly using her for the utility factors. So I think that, yeah, maybe, okay, maybe slightly better than Ulrich. Yeah, I think that this spot seems to fit her nicely. Okay, so 25-second cooldown, thank you, thank you. I mean, it also is a 5 second stun, so that's basically a 20% stun in an area, which can help you last long enough until you get your next lightning spell ready. So she's definitely more useful than Eridan and Arivan, just because of that factor. Just because, like, she pairs insanely well with the lightning. Next, we have Razen Rax, which I'm really conflicted on whether or not to put him in E or F tier. Like, I think that most people would agree that he's F tier. Some will say that he has some nice niches. Like, his hero spell is so awkward to use. Like, I know that you can turn the enemies to fight the others, but the thing is that most of the time, well, it just doesn't work that reliably, or the timing is almost always not the one that you would like to have. I don't know. I'm really conflicted between F and E tier. I think I'll just stick to E tier since at least he has the area stun. Bunnies are, well, they're not that good, honestly, since they're just unreliable and most of them will miss the target. So I think that, okay, I'll just stick to E tier. He'll be the bottom of E tier for now. I think he has more use cases than the F tier heroes. But yeah. Well, basically he's just don't use him. Even though he's him, don't use him. Next we have Lilith, the most RNG dependent hero in Origins. Like she's super difficult to rank. I think that C tier might be an okay spot for her. Her hero spell is really great, honestly. She also has that insta kill chance, but I'm not a huge fan of the RNG dependent skills. Like her hero spell is great, don't get me wrong. But the thing is that it's just an RNG fest. Even the hero spell. Like you want to get the meteors and then you get the other one. Like, bro, what even is this? I am not a huge fan of those mechanics. Definitely a fault hero. Like she has her use cases, but the fact that you have a random RNG for the insta kill, you also have RNG for her hero spell, just makes her unreliable. So I think that the top of C tier is okay for her, and her DPS I guess could be really great if Twilight Golem dies nearby her. But for that to happen, well, she needs to have her cooldown ready, and you need to have that Twilight Golem die at the exact same time that you need it. Because if an harasser dies during that time, well, you're screwed. You basically have zero value from her harvest ability. So yeah, C tier it is. Next, we have Rexon, a hero that I personally really enjoy using. He has his niche, you know, the insta kill is definitely insane. Like, he has the only true insta kill in Origins, since even Twilight Golems can be dealt with Rexon. You also have the Shrooms, you know. You can use Rexon to just consume all of the Shrooms, since they'll explode when they touch him and he'll gain their HP back. So he's basically the perfect meat shield for the mushrooms. And as well, like, you're mainly using him for the insta kill. Uh, I guess that, well, he does die quite consistently, but if you micro him enough, you shouldn't really have that problem, just because of the passive heal that he gains from the enemies which die nearby him. He also has just so insane burst damage. Also, I don't know if all of you know, but he has some insta kill chance with the purple blade ability, like when he does the 8 swashes. So just a super great assassin hero, at least in my opinion. Easy A tier. So yeah, I think that there is nothing really more to discuss about Rexon. Super enjoyable hero to use, definitely one of my favorites. Easily top 3 of my favorites in Origins. So yeah, let's continue. Now we have a hero which fails in a lot of aspects. We have Prince Dinas, super lucky hero spell. Basically, he summons 5 knights. You know, Ageria summons 1 unit, Cronon summons 2, and then we have Dinos who summons 5. Like, what? That's crazy. Well, the thing is, those units have non-existent stats. They die easily. I mean, well, not that easily. Okay, Twilight Golem will be able to deal with them, but for the time that they're on the field, they will be able to stall. Um, but like, his main use case is the like the one ability where he throws his Juggernaut on one enemy, which deals true damage. So at least he has that going on for him. He also gives you 25 gold per wave, and by the time that you get to wave 12, you have gained 300 gold from him, but like, that's next to nothing. So that ability is just wasted. Like, when you compare him with Blackthorn, who has the extra bounty from each enemy, which is like 10 times more useful than that of Prince Dinos. Like, he's tanky, okay. He also has the ham to recover his HP, but like, nothing really special about him. I'm personally not that huge of a fan of him. So I think that, like, around top of the tier is okay spot for him. Next, we have the Kung Fu Panda. I also forgot his name, but like, just tell me that's not Paul. Like, that's so obvious. He's definitely on par with Prince Dinas. I would, yeah, maybe I think that they're basically the same hero. The thing about him is that, you know, the hero spell actually deals around 1000 damage, if I'm not mistaken. So it definitely has its use cases. I'm not 100% sure what the cooldown of the hero of his hero spell is, but when you do have him, it can definitely be useful. But yeah, I think that this spot is alright for him. I'm not that huge fan of him, so yeah. Next we have Lynn. Lynn, I pretty much enjoy playing Lynn. She has her use cases. Um, Her hero spell is great. It deals around 900 damage if I'm not mistaken. When combined that with her swashes, she's basically a 1v1 monster. The thing is that Rexon can do the same, but he basically insta-kills it, unlike Lynn. I guess the stun she has is also nice. I think she also raises some, you know, some resistances. I'm not 100% sure. But well, she is definitely more useful than Lilith. But is she really as great as Haxel or King Dinas or Eridan? I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm just I think that C tier is alright for her. She has her use cases, but like I would much rather use Eridan since he can tank as long as her, even though she has the block chance, but that's not that useful for me. Again, with good micro can be on low A tier. I don't know. I don't know. Like I guess we can probably rearrange it to B tier, but low A tier I think is a little bit of a stretch. Like she's just a worse version of Rexon, at least in my opinion. So I guess the most I can give her is like the lowest B tier. I think that this should suffice for her. Okay, so next we have Vesnan, which I think is somewhere around here. He's basically like the Magnus of Origins. You have the insta kill, you have Insane Demon. I don't think that it's justified for him to be better than Oni or Tenshi, but at the same time he has so many cool abilities. You also have the teleport, so this is definitely one of my favorite abilities about any hero. If a hero has a teleport, that already makes the hero great. And well, except maybe Nivas or Diedre, like they just fail in every single regard. But like you can even use his demon to tank a lot of bosses really reliably in that. I think he can also solo the Beheader by himself with just the demon and him. So he's definitely super reliable hero. I think that A tier is nice spot for him, like the middle of A tier. Like basically non-existent damage, but his abilities are just broken, and I think that this is justifiable for him to be A tier. Next we have Durax. Like Durax is super easy to rank. I think that he's somewhere between in power with Ignis and Iwara. I'm not exactly 100% sure if he's better than Ignis, but like you have three heroes. You can have three heroes at the same time. Like that is just insane to think about. If you are a mad lad who is going to micro all three of them and try to make them last for the whole duration, I think his DPS is the highest in Origins. Like it's even higher than that of Wilbur, which is just crazy to think about. Also, he has the true damage from time to time, which is definitely useful. Like it's just an easy S tier all around. Like his clones die quite easily, okay, but that's why you can compensate with micro. And well, basically he's just a DPS machine. Like, is there even anything more to say? You can walk up to three enemies with him at the same time. Like, that's one of the easiest S tiers in the list so far. Now we have Brave Bark, which I personally really not big fan of him. Like, you have the teleport, which isn't as good as some of the other ones since he's quite slow. You have also the insta kill. Like, I guess for the insta kill, I can consider giving him C tier. His damage is lacking. His trees that he spawns are just super weak. Like they will stall one enemy for a little bit of time, but like it's super unreliable. Like the most I can give Brave Buck is C tier. I'm even considering bringing him to D tier, but I guess I'll just stick to C for now. I guess he also has the passive regen, but while he's regening, he's also not attacking, so you're not gaining any DPS from him, which is not a good thing to have. Like, he's just a tank, and he does his job quite well, okay? And that's about it. Like, Prince Dinas and Bravebark, they're basically the same heroes, but I'll place Bravebark slightly higher than those two, just because of the teleport. His hero spell is also underwhelming, at least for me. So yeah, I think that C tier is justifiable. Next we have the Wolverine guy from X-Men. So Logan, I think that he's also C tier. like he's better than Lilith. The thing about him is that his regen is so low, just so pathetically low that I think that C tier is alright for him. Like the thing about him is that you're better off just leaving him to die. Like just wait for the respawn time and he'll basically regen his HP faster, which is just insane to think about. Also, hey Shai, good to see you here as well. I think I spoke about Cax. I'm just not that big a fan of him. I think that C tier is so right. Like, I know that he's a high skill cap hero. The thing is that I'm severely skill issued and I cannot really get the full strength of Cax. So I'll just stick with C tier for now. Like, I guess skill gears will find use cases for him more than I do. But the thing is that his teleport is just. I don't even know how it works. He'll just teleport one enemy when I don't want him to, and he'll mess up my strategy and so on. Like, I can see why some people would say that he's B tier, but for me, he just doesn't work. Like, yeah, he's definitely a hard hero to use, definitely one of the highest skill cap heroes, and he can work. The thing is that for me, he just doesn't work. And for the overall casual player, he's like even Diori tier. It, just super strange hero to rank. But for now, I'll just stick with CTR. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, we were discussing about Wogan. So Wogan, insane burst damage. The thing is, if he had a good regen, he would have been easily beatier. His hero spell is really strange, honestly. Not that big a fan of him. But at least in 1v1 case, he'll melt an enemy and die with it, and that's about it. So C tier, still better than Lilith, somewhere around there. Next we have Phoenix. Does Phoenix even need an introduction? Like, um, crazy hero, insane burst damage. The revive is also insane. Like, Phoenix can respawn in 5 seconds, which makes her basically unkillable. I mean, it's a Phoenix, so that makes sense. Uh, you want me to send the list in Discord? Okay, okay, I'll send it, no worries. So yeah, S tier, easily. Is Phoenix even better than Bruxa though? I'm not really sure. Maybe in some cases, like Phoenix can definitely handle a lot of enemies, especially during the first waves, where most enemies are just weak, and if an enemy has less HP, he'll just become a missile for Phoenix. Like, you just need someone to deal, uh, I guess, alright area damage, and Phoenix can finish everyone off after that. So, yeah, I think the test tier is a really easy spot for Phoenix. Yeah, I'll stick with her for now. Next we have Wilbur, another insane flying hero. Like, should we even give him an introduction? We have the second highest DPS in Origins. He basically can melt everyone and everything. His hero spell is alright. Um, but the main thing about him is that his basic attack is just busted. If he's not dealing with armored enemy, he'll just melt everyone else. Like, just insane hero overall. Super busted abilities. Like, I don't think that there is a whole lot to discuss about Wilbur. Basically an insane hero, easy S tier. Yeah, I guess the second spot for the S tier should suffice for now. And a lot of challenges are done exclusively with Wilbur. So yeah, just insane hero. Um, his basic attacks deal true damage. Well, I wasn't aware of that. Thanks for getting me know. But yeah, there's not really anything to discuss about Wilbur, insane hero. Next we have Faustus. Faustus, he's a strange hero to rank. Definitely better than Ashbite in that regard. He's definitely the better hero. Like, we have Boneheart in S tier and we have Puny uh, Faustus in B tier. At least he got corrupted to be a better dragon. But I think that B tier is alright for him. Definitely better than heroes like Arivan and Eridan. Like top of B tier or high A tier? Is he more useful than Kata? I think that Kata's hero spell is definitely more reliable than Faustus. Like you have the teleport for Faustus, but it's super unreliable, I think. Like you're not going to use Faustus for the teleport. He has quite a decent movement speed. Like there is no denying that, of course. But I think that well, he's just not really special. Like there isn't a particular ability that makes him shine, at least for me. So I think that top of B tier, like well, not top of B tier. I think that Sir Geralt is definitely more useful than Faustus. So yeah, this spot I think here is alright. Like the basic damage he has is definitely okay for him, but like as I said, no special ability to give him an edge over the other heroes. And we have the secondary heroes for Origins, which should go somewhere around here. Yeah, I think that these are the spots that I'm going to go for. We have young Agiria, like you know how useful Agiria is. Well, young Agiria is even more useful than her. Easy, the worst hero in the whole franchise. There's no denying that. Malik on the other hand, has a good area and stun. It also deals alright damage. Yeah, maybe he's better than Cronan. I wouldn't go as far as to say that he's better than Mirage. But yeah, for a free secondary hero, I think that this spot should be okay for him. And you have Bulwark, again, another secondary hero. Like, I don't really know what to say about him. His only good ability is the one where he makes an enemy take extra damage. And he basically acts as an Arborian emissary, you know, but that's about it. He dies quite easily. At least he can get the aggro of God yet, like the magma pulse. He'll sometimes target Bulwark, which is better than having him target your Blade Singers or Forest Keepers, so I'll give him that. Okay, so this was the list for now. We went through Kingdom Rush, Frontiers and Origins. That's the list so far. We'll do some changes when we complete the whole list, like some really small and slight adjustments. So this is the overall list for now. Okay, so with that said, let's begin with Vengeance. We have Verak, um, somewhere around here should suffice for him. Maybe better than Cronan. Okay, so the thing about Verak is that, you know, you will be able to use him to deal with the support enemies. Like, he's somewhere in between a tank and an assassin. He also has a second pair of like he basically has a second pair of reinforcements, since I guess 90% of people are using tridents. Like who even uses the melee units for the reinforcements? And his are, I guess, slightly better. But you're wasting a hero spell slot just to get a second pair of reinforcements? Like, come on, man. That's just crazy. F tier, easily. There is not really much to discuss more about him. Next, we have an actually useful free hero. How useful though? We're thinking either C or B tier. I well probably C tier, like somewhere around here. Astra, you know, she has the insta kill, like the spider bite insta kill. Well, it's not like 100% insta kill, but most of the times you'll see an enemy like a snow golem or a snow giant, and you just teleport her to the front to make the spider bite trigger as quickly as possible. You also have the onyx arrows, which lower enemies' armor. As I say, tier is really a stretch, honestly. Like, I can see why some of you would rank her as B tier, but A tier is just way too much. Like, her damage isn't really that useful. Her hero spell, although dealing true damage, isn't really that powerful either. Like, I'd much rather have other hero spells, which we'll discuss a little bit later. Like, the most I can give her is the lowest of B tier, not anymore. But for me to give her B tier, you know that we have to compare her with the sorts of like Lilith and Ashbite and Chatra, which we already have in C tier. So do you really think that she's better than those heroes? I think that I'm alright with C tier for the time being. We'll discuss a little bit later when we finish the list if she does deserve B tier or not. But for now, I think that C tier should suffice. Uh, Although, definitely the best free hero, and I have nothing really negative to say about her. The thing is that she's just mediocre in all aspects, so C tier for now. Next we have Olok, which is one of the more underrated heroes in Vengeance. The thing about Olok is that he has really busted hero spell. Like, I would go as far as to say that he's basically as powerful as Asura. Well, not as powerful, but the teleport can nullify a lot of enemies, like especially for the Frozen Nightmare campaign, I think is what it's called. You know that the hero spell has the lowest cooldown out of all the hero spells in Vengeance. Like, it's basically a scatter, but a little bit worse, I guess. But the thing about him is that he can permastall a lot of enemies. Like, the Sigil of Isolation is just crazy hero spell, and I guess the only good ability that Tao has. So just for that reason alone, I'm going to place him in C tier. Like, he's an utility hero. A lot of people say that they just use him for the damage and so on, but he's a utility hero. Like, that's what a lot of people cannot really figure out. So then we have Margosa. Well, Margosa doesn't really have anything special going on for her. She's just a 1v1 monster, and that's about it. Like, I would much rather have Astra, since at least she has the ranged ability. Like, at least she can help you with flank enemies. While Margosa, she'll just stall one enemy, and that's about it. I think that somewhere in between those two should be alright. Saitama is definitely better than Margosa, since you get the global tower bonus damage, but B tier is definitely a stretch. Like, okay, she can even deal with bosses like Ulrich and even Malik, but you can even get a Swamp Thing to do the same thing. Like, the life steal is definitely insane, but that's about it. She's just a 1v1 crazy heroine. Well, that's it. Nothing more to say about her. Next we have Mortemis. I think he is definitely a bitchy hero. The thing about Mortemis is that he can summon a lot of zombies. Like, he acts as a local grim cemetery. I think that also one of his abilities makes it so that well, I cannot 100% remember that. Well, I probably should have searched it up, but okay. I might also be misjudging him with Isvet since I find both of them to be really similar. But okay, so the thing about Mortem is, local Grim Cemetery, really useful ability. It's just a passive, So that's enough to give him B tier spot. A tier might be a stretch. Like, where do we place him? Maybe I think that somewhere around here is okay for Mortemis. Like, I personally really enjoy his passive. His damage isn't great at all, but well, that's about it. I'm when I'm using Mortemis, I'm just thinking about his passive, and that's it. His soldier, like his bodyguard, is also alright since it does have area stun attacks, which are useful to an extent, but like B tier should be alright for him. Next we have Jack, and Jack is definitely one of the more busted heroes. How busted would I say he is though? Is he better than Tenshi? Well, he is up there, definitely. Most of you may not be aware, but Jack has an issue in Vengeance. The thing is that his hero spell is bugged, and it deals 3 times more damage than usual. So when you use his hero spell, it's basically like a lane clear ability. Like, it's just so broken. You also have the teleport. He also can summon 4 ghouls, which have like 50% uptime or something like that. I think it has a 30-second cooldown, and they are on the field for 20 seconds, something like that. He also has a little bit similarity with Ice Cold. Every 4 seconds, he'll throw his head, which deals area true damage. You know, it's true damage. Like, what's not to love? So yeah, but the thing about him is that his hero spell is glitched, and it definitely makes him busted. So Rigi is A tier for him. Is he better than Tenshi? Well, not really, since he cannot handle or solo stages like Tenshi does. So I think that this spot is alright for him. And also, I think that this is my favorite hero in Vengeance, just because he's not as busted as some of the dragons. And I personally really enjoy using Jack. Next we have Tremin. Like Tremin, should we even discuss him? Like he basically has nothing going on for him. The only good part about Tremin is that he has a decent hero spell. But it has such a long cooldown though. Like his hero spell will deal way above 1000 damage. But to think that some heroes can do the same with just one of their basic skills is just insane. He also has great movement, like sure, but his survivability is non-existent. He can basically be two-shotted by musketeers, which is just crazy to think about. His area damage is alright, but the thing is that most of it is physical damage, and it's not that useful either. So for those reasons alone, I think that maybe top of it tier should be alright for him. Definitely more useful than Verak, but at the same time, well, his power cannot really be felt on the field. So yeah, I think it tier should be good for him. Next we have Jigo. Well, Jigo is basically the same as Verak, but I think he's slightly better than Varrock just because, well, he acts really similarly with Margosa. You know, both of those heroes will stun an enemy for as long as you want. His passive regen is just insane to think about. Like, they're hard gaining enemies that can deal with Jiggle, but let me explain why I think that he should be E tier. Okay, he's definitely better at least than Raz and Rax. But when he's using his ego ability to, like, recover his HP and so on, he doesn't really do anything else. He just stays there. Like, he's just dead. Walking one enemy, and that's it. Okay, this ability is useful when it comes to stalling bosses. But, like, his damage, non-existent. And his only decent ability is the one where he pounds the ground, and stuns the enemies around him. Like for this reason alone, he's more useful than Varrock. But at the same time, I just cannot really feel his power. I find him super underwhelming. So yeah, I'll just place him in E tier. I think that Tremin might be slightly more useful than Jigo. But yeah, I'm just not that big a fan of Jigo. Next we have the Kraken boy. I forgot his name. Someone will probably correct me in the chat. He's definitely a strange hero to rank. A lot of people say that he's trash and F tier and so on. Other people say that he's vastly underrated. Um, Junpei C tier. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Junpei. So Junpei, I don't think that he really deserves C tier. C tier might be an overestimate. Like, he's way worse than Asra. I would much rather have Asra than Junpei. His Kraken hero spell is alright. His banner is also fine, I guess. Like, he's just a utility hero. You shouldn't really expect a lot from him. His damage is really not that good, honestly. He cannot handle a lot of enemies. Like, he's basically like Malik in power. Both of them are similar. Like, you use him for the stun effects and so on, same as Malik. Both of them also have low DPSs and area damage. So yeah, I think that Junpei in D tier is justifiable. Like, I'll just place him in top of D tier. And I think that this should be alright for him. Like, I get why some people think that he's C tier, but I just cannot really get the value, like say as some of the other heroes. So next we have Isvet. Isvet is really similar to Mortemis. Like you can even say that Isvet is just a blatant copy of Mortemis, which I can definitely see why. Also, I've seen some people say that Isvet is better than Mortemis. Others say that he's like way worse than Mortemis. I'm I'm personally enjoy using more Mortemis when compared with Isvet. The thing about Isvet is that his hero spell is great. Like um you have the true damage of his hero spell. He also has the two mummies. I think he can have up to two mummies in the field at the same time, which is definitely okay. I don't know. I don't know. I really know that a lot of people say that he is better than Mortemis, but at least personally, I find Mortemis' passive to be so superior when compared with that of Isvet that he cannot really rank higher than Mortemis. But you know the thing that makes Isvet busted is the True Blood, I think, or Magma Blood. Like, how is his ability called again? Someone will correct me in the comments. But yeah, this ability makes enemies receive up to 50% more damage for 6 seconds. Something like that, I think it was. He's also definitely a fun hero to use. Like, you just place him in a choke point, like Mortemis, and he'll farm it really nicely. Pairs well with barracks and so on. 75%. Okay, thank you. So, 75% enemies receive more damage. Like, that's just crazy to think about. I know that the cooldown is also quite high, but like for 6 seconds, all enemies receive 75% damage. Like, come on, man. Like, that's definitely busted. Okay. We'll just treat Mortemis and Isvet as the same hero. Like, I think that this should be fine for everyone. Like, I can see why some people would place him even higher. But for now, I'll just treat them as the same hero, and that's about it. Like, super fun hero, both Mortemis and Isfet, excellent heroes. I cannot really say anything negative about them. Let's continue. We have Grosh. Grosh, well, what do we say about Grosh? He's a 1v1 monster. Like, we have, like, yeah, these two are really similar. He also has the hero spell, which is super inferior hero spell when compared with that of Jack. Like both of them are covering the whole lane, but the thing is that Grosh is just so much worse. Like I hate it. I really hate it. Also, this spot is maybe a little bit higher than him, than it should be for him. Uh, I think C tier, like somewhere around C tier. D tier might be an overestimate. Like we have Junpei in D tier, and I think that Grosh is definitely more useful than Junpei. I will settle. Yeah, I'll just say that he is like Margoza. He can handle any enemy in 1v1. The thing is that you need to make sure that he is isolated. Like you shouldn't have any allied units near him, otherwise he gets really weak. Since his passive is he gets 20% HP and damage boost, if I'm not mistaken. Again, if someone knows, he can correct me in the chat. Would definitely appreciate it. The thing I hate most about Grosh is that where was my friend? Wogan and Grosh, both of them, their regen is so low, so criminally low. And one of his other passives is that when you make Grosh die, he will spawn the spikes in the ground, which will damage and slow enemies, which is useful ability. And you would much rather have Grosh die rather than regen Swolgi. At least you'll be able to get use of his passive. So for this reason alone, I think C tier is justifiable. You also get the damage increase when he is low on hit points, but this will happen mostly one time while he is alive, and then he'll just die. Not a spectacular hero, but not terrible either. If you micro him, he will be able to deal with the support enemies and the ranged enemies, but well, that's about it. Next we have Doom Tank. Like we can really easily start with A tier and then we'll discuss whether or not to place him even higher. Okay, so like I can probably write a whole documentary about Doom Tank, so I don't even know from where to begin. I guess I'll just start with the hero spell. Okay, so the hero spell about Doom Tank is it's also glitched like the one for Jack. It deals 2000 damage. We are talking about 2000 area damage in that. This basically can delete everything. If you have enough barracks on the field, this ability alone, it's just not crazy. Like I'll just place them next to each other to start with. You also have the support units. Like you will always have at least 3 units with him. So they can make your choke point. Like you don't even need barracks. Doom Tank will do everything for you. His DPS is also insane. I think that he has the highest basic attack damage of all the heroes. Like, the cooldown is quite high, but at least that's why he has the highest. He's also quite fast. Like, like saying that he's slow is really. I'm not really. Uh, I cannot agree with that statement. Since a slow hero is like Varrock or something similar, but he also has the movement speed, so you can micro him reliably. I think I'll just place him next to Jack, since both of them are really similar. You have the insane area damage with both of them. The thing is that at least, okay, maybe Doom Tank is just slightly better than Jack, due to the fact that you have the permanent reinforcements, while Jack there on cooldown. Like his are definitely more powerful, but the ones that Doom Tank has also have ranged damage, so they're slightly better in that regard. So yeah, we'll just place them next to each other and that's about it. Okay, so we have the heroes. I mean the dragons remaining for vengeance. Let's start with Berasat and then we will speedrun through the rest. So Berasat, I think he's like okay, like he's definitely a useful dragon, but not as powerful as the others. Like Hellfire is definitely busted. You have 180 true damage, which is like for all enemies on the field. Okay, maybe A tier. Okay, we'll start with low A tier for now. You also have the insta kill. I don't know if the insta kill is really that great. Honestly, it has quite a long cooldown. The thing is that he only does physical damage. So if you try to use Berasat to deal with any tanky enemy, he won't be able to do that. His golem is also quite weak, like his stats are not great at all. And the only thing that makes Berasat A tier is his hero spell, which is easily the third or fourth best in Vengeance. Like we are even yet to discuss the most broken hero spells. But like we also have to consider that we have Jack and Doom tanks as hero spells, which I think that they're better than those of Berasat. Like I cannot possibly give him more than WoW A tier. So yeah, I'ma just leave him there for now. Okay, so now we have the annoying part. We have the dragon heroes which are overpowered. Okay, I get start with Dianion. Then we have Murglan. And then we have Ice Cold. And I don't think that we really need to discuss them. So the thing about Ice Cold, the most broken hero spell to ever existed, 30% global stun. Like maybe I should have made an SS tier just for Ice Cold. Like putting him in S tier is really uh, it's an understatement. He's definitely SS tier at the very least. We have Murglan with insta kill, area insta kill with the hero spell, magma blood which deals true damage. You just place her on top of an enemy and she'll deal with him. You have Dianion, which is also an insane dragon. He has the highest DPS in Vengeance, and also his hero spell is really underrated. I think it's 2250 magical damage. 15 shots times 150. Yeah, 2250. If you need a way to deal with battle elephants, the Yanyon is the way to go. So, also, he will attack enemies even while he's being moved, which is just insane to think about. So, he's basically unkillable. Like, should we even really discuss them any further? I don't think so. Easy S tier heroes across the board. Okay, so I also added the Alliance heroes, so we'll also rank them as well. So let's start with Vesper. Vesper is like Eridan 2.0. Like, they have so many similarities with one another. So I guess he might be slightly worse than Eridan. His survivability is definitely worse than that of Eridan. His hero spell is alright, it can deal with lesser eyes, it also can deal quite a punch against blinkers. His stun arrow is okay at best. You say C tier? I don't know. Yeah, maybe C tier, like top of C tier. Yeah, I can see why, I can see why. Honestly, like, let's be real, is Vesper even better than Shatra or Asra? Nah. I think that Astra is even better than Vesper. Yeah, definitely nowhere near as good. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, maybe somewhere around here. Yeah, this should be okay for Vesper. Like, for a starter hero, he's alright. Not the best, not the worst. Like, he's just mediocre all around. Nothing special going on for him. Okay, so next we have Frelin. Regin is another free hero, which is definitely more useful than Vesper. I consider Regin to be the second best free hero in Alliance. We'll discuss which one is the best a little bit later. So, the thing about Regin is her Brutal Slash, which deals 480 true damage, if I'm not mistaken. And this ability alone is the reason why she ranks at least, like, yeah, somewhere around B tier should be okay for her. She deals really reliably with spawners, and you really hate facing those enemies, since they can cause you a lot of problems if you don't deal with them quick enough. And Ragin is a really easy and simple solution to them. So just because of the brutal slash ability, I will rank her at low B tier. She's definitely more useful than Vesper. I'll say that. You also have the Dark Knight, but the thing about the Dark Knight is that his stats are not really great. Like, he will survive for the time being, but his cooldown is 1 minute and he stays on the field for 15 seconds or something like that. Like, okay, he deals true damage, but well, there's nothing really special about him. He'll just block one enemy and that's it. So yeah, B tier, lowest of B tiers, I think, is okay spot for her again. Also, I actually didn't talk about Inspire Fear, but Inspire Fear, apart from stunning enemies for 3 seconds, also lowers their damage severely. So it's definitely quite a good utility ability, which should not be overlooked. But okay, enough rambling about Rain. Let's rank Nairo now. So Nairo, I think, is somewhere around this spot. Yeah, definitely better than Faustus, but worse than Gerald. So the thing about Nairo, you have the insane mobility with the roots. You also have the pixies, which can deal with lesser eyes and blinkers and so on. Nairo also has one of the most busted hero spells in Alliance. You also have the shield, which makes him too tanky, honestly. Like, he's supposed to be a ranged hero which should die easily, but the windshield makes him a tank. Like, to some extent, he might be even better tank than Ragin. Okay, this might be an overstatement, honestly, but you get the point. Definitely busted abilities, but also he can lower enemies' damage by 90%. So, actually, this might be true. He might even be better tank than Ragin in most cases. But the thing about Nairo is that his hero spell is just so overpowered. and mainly the reason why he's B tier. I think that this spot is justifiable for him. So yeah. Also, you know the Verdant Blast where he shoots one giant magic ball? It's really RNG, at least that's what I've noticed. He tries to target the enemy that is furthest away from him, but that also has, I guess, some more HP than the ability can do. Like, if you can get him to hit a blinker, he'll basically be able to one-shot him, but, well, that's about it. We also have Grimson. So Grimson, he's the worst free hero. I think that somewhere around D tier. Yeah, I'm just need to think where in D tier though. Like, yeah, I think somewhere around here. Okay, so the thing is that he is quite a controversial hero. I know that a lot of people enjoy using him, but the thing is, for starters, I think that he has the worst hero spell in Alliance. It does 270 or 300 true damage. It also swallows enemies for 5 seconds when they are inside his radius. But like, is that really useful? You at most be able to get 4 or 5 enemies inside his hero spell. And you know the one upgrade of the star tree, which when you use a Dark Army hero spell, you swallow down all enemies on screen. Well, that's counterproductive since you will be able to get less enemies in his hero spell just because they will get slowed down and it negates his hero spell slowdown, which is supposed to group them, but well, they play against each other and definitely makes his hero spell even worse. Like, if you want to get more use out of Grimson, you might even be better off turning that star upgrade off. Okay, now let's discuss his other abilities. We have two abilities. One of his is that he can insta-kill enemies which have 20% less HP than their max. So basically, if an enemy has 1000 HP, he will be able to insta-kill it when it's below 200. The thing about this insta-kill is that it doesn't work against anyone. Like, the only enemies that it works against in the third act is Husks and Glergings. It doesn't work against abominations. It doesn't work against spawners. It doesn't work against blade claw horrors. Like, it's just stupid ability. An insta kill that's not working. Like, what even is this? It's definitely one of the worst abilities in the game, or even in the franchise as a whole. Then we have his mutant form. Like, when he's below 25% HP, like something like that, he'll transform into a mutant and he'll increase his damage and he'll also regen 5% of his overall hit points with each hit. The thing is that during this mutant form, he cannot use any of his other abilities, and the thing about it is that the transformation is so painfully slow that by the time he has transformed, he's already dead. Blade Claw Horrors, Golems, they would have finished him off way earlier than by the time he has transformed. I've tried that in testing. I've played him numerous times in 1v1 cases against them, and he just doesn't work. Like, his insta-kill is supposed to give him regen. It doesn't work against enemies. His mutant form is supposed to give him regen. He dies before even transforming. What is this? Two abilities which just don't work. His hero spell is the worst one in the game. Like, I don't know. Like, we'll just place him somewhere around here. Like, Prince Dinas is even more useful than Grimson. Like, people will say, oh, look, he's purple and edgy and so on, and he's also really fast. Bro, I don't care. Like, if you're 6-year-old, okay. Tell the others that he's the best hero. Like, if you watch Super Jumbombo, he'll rank him as S tier hero easily. I don't care, bro. You haven't even played the game. So don't even try to rank anything. So yeah, we'll just stick with D tier for now. So moving on, we have Torres. Okay, so Torres, is he E tier or F tier? I'm not really sure. Okay, maybe D tier. Okay, E tier might be a little bit of an understatement, since he does in fact have a little bit of use case. No, you know what? Screw this. We'll definitely place him in E tier. Okay, so let's start off. We have Torres who cannot move. He just cannot move. He has the slowest movement speed, I guess, in the whole franchise. Well, this might be wrong. Like maybe Grow is slower. Uh, about Torres, so we have one of his abilities which makes him build a tower, you know? This tower has an alright damage, like it can even help you with dealing with flying enemies. But the thing is that when he builds that tower, he engages out of combat. So imagine you have Torres in way back of the path and you're trying to stop a Blade Claw Horror or something like that. Like, he is a tanky hero, okay? He will be able to survive the encounter. And then he'll just build a tower. He'll engage out of combat, and the Blade Claw Horror will sneak through. Like, what even is this? A counterproductive ability. Like, that's what it is. And then people will say, but then you have the tower which will increase his damage severely. Like, I don't even care, bro. I just wanted to stop that one enemy. And just because he tried to build his stupid tower, now I lost one life. And have to start all over again. Like, okay, so the other abilities, he summons two builders. Those builders will basically get one-shotted by almost everything. Like they cannot survive for more than 2 seconds, so that's an unexistent skill. His regen skill, like the one where he eats a burger, will help him to survive for longer, but it's just stupid. He has a lot of hit points, he has armor. Like, how often do you think he will use that ability? Like, it's just unnecessary. You also have his other one where he spins around with his baton and deals 60 damage, I think. That 60 damage is enough to finish off Glergings, which is, I guess, okay at best. And it's probably his only good ability. I guess, okay, let's discuss his hero spell. So he summons a giant metal ball from the sky, which also hits flank enemies. So if you're trying to stop a blinker, I guess it will get the job done. But like, it's only either 270 or 300. It's basically the same as that of Grimson, but instead of slowing, it stuns the enemies. I don't really get its point. Like, if you want, you can use it to, I guess, kill all the husks, and then you have all the Glergings to deal with. And, well, Torres will not be able even to stop them. So, like, he's just so better hero. Like, he's the reason why in my hero tier list for Alliance I had to add a D tier just because of him. Like, that's how bad he is. So we'll stick with D tier. Like, I guess he's better than Tremi since, you know, some of these Vengeance heroes are just so terrible. And the hero balance in Alliance is definitely better than that of Vengeance. Like, he's most of the times useless, but it's better to have him than nothing. So, yeah. Okay, let's continue. So we have Therian. I actually really love using Therian. Definitely think that she's better hero than Ragin. Also, yeah, let's compare Therian with Arivan since both of them are magic heroes. The thing about Therian is I personally really enjoy her hero spell. It synergizes really well with the upgrade of the star tree, which slows all enemies on screen. It also, I guess, teleports all of the enemies caught in her hero spell for 8 seconds. And the damage is, I think, 270 or 300. She also has a teleport. We also need to discuss her teleport passive for a little bit, just because recently I noticed that someone said that the longer the stage, I guess, continues, the worse her teleport gets, and the slower she gets. Like, she will move slower and slower with each second that the stage passes, which I don't know if it's a bug or it's intentional, but either way, it's really stupid. Like, for example, take a look into her teleport in stage 15, like the Eyesore Tower. in wave 1 and wave 15, and just compare her movement speed. Like, the differences are really insane. The thing about Therian is that her rifts are definitely one of the best abilities in the game. So they can deal up to 500 or 600 damage for the 10-second duration. And also the cooldown isn't that big either. So it's definitely useful. Like, if you have trouble with husks and so on, the rifts will clear all of them. Um, the teleport can also be used to deal with, I guess, any Glergings that have sneak by or any lesser eyes. Her clone is really bad, honestly. It's basically a wasted ability, which is a shame, since her clone could have been so much better. The only thing about her clone is that when she uses it, she has another ability which gives one ally a shield of 150 HP, which when the shield gets destroyed, it will deal 120 magical damage to all the enemies in the radius, I think. That was it, I think. Which synergizes all right with her clone. It will make it so that you have two Therians in the field for the time being. So it's all right, I guess. But yeah, overall, really fun hero to use. Definitely my favorite in Alliance, even though she might not be the best. I personally really enjoy playing with her. So yeah, there isn't really anything more to add. Next, we have Anya. Okay, so we have Margoza in C tier, 1v1 monster, and we have the better Margoza. So Anya, she can handle every single enemy in Alliance. It doesn't matter which enemy it is. She will deal with him like he's not getting anywhere. Every 7 attacks, she will full heal. Like, that's one way to get your HP full. Second way, when you use her hero spell, like when you summon Dante, the upgrade from the start tree will insta heal her. In case, just in case Anya dies, which cannot happen. Like, the only way for Anya to die is for her to be in a 1v1 fight against the boss, which most of the times, well, you have either Dinas for stage 15 or in stage 11, Vesna will basically just chain Dinas for that whole duration and Anya will be able to stay alive for the whole duration. But, in that rare scenario that Anya dies, you can revive her with Dante. It's that simple. So you have essentially four ways to fully regen Anya. Just think about that. Like, is there even anything more that I need to add? If you need to stop one enemy, Anya is the hero for that case. She also, okay, let's talk about her other abilities. She has a ranged attack, which actually deals okay damage. She will be able to stop lesser eyes. She can also be used to, I guess, help against blinkers. The one ability where she transforms into a vampire and throws it into 4 enemies is also useful. Like, the damage is okay. It can one-shot Glergings, which really helps in stage 14. Like, where you get sent a lot of Glergings, which will try to form into a behemoth. And Anya can cover one of the lanes with that ability. She can also uh, deal area damage with one of her abilities, and it's, I think, around 150, which is okay. It's not one of the best abilities, but it can definitely help in some cases. Also, yeah, ranged damage is double. But the thing is that with her basic attack, she deals the damage listed twice. So it's one swipe inwards and outwards. So the overall DPS of her melee form is doubled than that of what it's displayed. Also, Dante deals physical damage. Like, for some reason, it's stated that he deals true damage, which is just wrong. I've tested it against an enemy with 100% resistance, and Dante only deals 1 damage per hit. Like, not 100, but 99. So it's not true damage, which is unfortunate. If it was true damage, she would have ranked even higher. And also Dante deals around 1000 damage for his duration, and is probably the second best air counter in the game after Unagru. since Unagro can definitely deal with the flank enemies even without any abilities and spells and so on. So yeah, 1v1 monster, Dante is great and all for the nostalgia factor. Easy 8 tier. Okay, so next we have Broden. Broden is definitely a strange hero to rank. For some people, he's insane. For others, he is underwhelming. I would say that he's similar in power to Data Fania, but he is not really quite there. Like, yeah, I know that some people will say that Broden is better than Danya, but just hear me out. Basically, Broden, since he's a flank hero, he cannot block any enemy. And blocking an enemy is really essential in Alliance. Like, I'd rather have my hero, like Regin, be able to block someone. Okay, so for example, let's say that you have a spawner coming in and you have Regin. You just move Regin to the spawner and she'll deal with him. But the thing about Broden is that he'll just try to shoot him, but he doesn't have the damage. Like, it's area damage, so what do you even expect out of him? And the spawner will just constantly spawn the eyes just because you don't have a reliable hero to deal with them. Also, is he really that useful against evolving scourges? I don't really think so. Like, I would much rather have Anya walk one of them than have Broden. Like, he has a 2 second stun. What even is that? A 2 second stun? You're telling me that this ability is useful? No, no, it's not. Also, the thing about Broden, which carries him, is definitely his hero spell. Like, the Griffons, they deal 50 damage, which is true, 50 true damage for each swipe. They can deal each, I think, 10 swipes? 10 or 16. Like, I think that overall it was 1000 damage. Yeah, I think his hero spell deals 1000 true damage, which is really great about him. It can definitely deal with lesser highs, with blinkers. It can help you to deal with abominations, with behemoths. Like, doesn't matter wherever you use the hero spell, you find a use case for it. And basically, the only thing that helps Broden be B tier is that hero spell alone. Since, yeah, Broden is um, in fact, he has probably the top 3 best hero spells, but top 3 in Alliance? Nah, sorry. Anya is definitely better than him. So, B tier for him? Maybe? Okay. Like, something like that. Okay? Yeah. I think that I'm fine with this spot. Better than Nairo, worse than Anya. Like, these 3 heroes are definitely really similar in power, but out of all of them, I think that Anya is the best one. So yeah, let's continue. Now we have Unagro. So Unagro, he's similar to Relin. He has the highest basic attack damage in Alliance. He's the number 1 air defense, but his movement speed is just non-existent. At least he can compensate with his range. He has quite an insane range, so at least he has that going for him. Two of his abilities are connected to giving you utility, but it's just so bad. Like, you have a 2 second stun, which is super unreliable. You have a tar bomb, which slows enemies by 60% for like 6 seconds, which I personally I'm not a huge fan of. And yeah, well, his hero spell is probably the second or third worst one in Alliance. Like, it's really hard to time it correctly. You need to, in most cases, even try to predict when the enemies will clump up for it to be useful, since you need like 8 seconds until it comes to the right place. So yeah, well, he's really similar to Relin. I personally enjoy using Regin more since she can handle with spawners. Again, the thing about Unagro is that he cannot engage in a melee fight, so you cannot stop any enemies with him. Like, the stun is okay, but it triggers only when you have 3 enemies in his range. So if you want to stop an enemy, well, you can't. You just can't. He's like Torres, but even worse. when it comes to stopping an enemy. I mean, okay, let's not compare him with Torres since they are vastly different heroes, but you get the point. Slow movement speed, high damage, and so on and so forth. B tier is alright for him. Uh, Similar power to Regin, but I'm just not like even. We'll place him in C tier. Yeah, C tier is okay for Onagro. Then we have Warhead. So originally I thought that Warhead is the worst hero in Alliance or the second worst hero. Like, yeah, let's just even disregard Torres out of all the things since I consider Torres to be a decoration rather than a hero. So, Warhead, he has insane area damage. I think that three of his five abilities are just for area damage. Like, you have his Eruption, which deals 90 area damage which can one-shot Glergings. You also have the Smoke Screen. Smoke Screen is actually one of the best abilities in Alliance, since it deals 180 or 150. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, I cannot really remember every single stat, but it also has quite big of a range and it slows enemies for 5 seconds, which I didn't really know. Like if you don't have a key 9, you will not be able to notice that smoke screen also slows enemies. Yeah, smoke screen is definitely cracked. Insane ability overall. Um, the thing about Warhead, he has 0.69, yeah, the funny number armor, which is the highest you can have just because of Womanir. We'll discuss Womanir a little bit later. I mean, he's super tanky. He cannot really die. He has the most EHP of all the heroes in Alliance, but his regen is really slow. Also, one thing to note about Warhead is that he has a similar problem with that of Grimson, in that you know the Iron Uppercut ability, which insta-kills an enemy below a certain threshold. For Warhead, I think that the threshold is 30%, but the thing is that in the third area, the only big enemies it works on are Husks and Glergings. Just think about it. Those two enemies can already be insta-killed with basically everything. And you relying on Iron Uppercut is just stupid. It doesn't work against spawners, doesn't work against abominations, doesn't work against horrors, neither does it work against behemoths. I want it to work against everything. Like, imagine you have a behemoth with 1000 health and Warhead just iron uppercuts it into the air. Like, that would be super satisfying, and yet it just doesn't work. Like, what even is this? I consider that to be straight up discrimination, even at some point. The thing about Warhead, so let's firstly give him his proper placement. We'll place him somewhere around here. Yeah, I think that here is an okay spot. He has zero ways to deal with flank enemies. Only smoke screen can target them, but it's super unreliable, and I would not really consider it a means of dealing with flank enemies. And flank enemies are a straight up meta in Alliance. Like, if you cannot deal with flank enemies, you fall off. The thing about him, he has an insane hero spell. Like, 240 damage for the whole lane. It can almost one-shot Husks. It can clear all the Glergings. Okay. So I know that all of you love the Necromancer, right? And his Death Rider, which was changed to now be like a Death Rider who goes through the whole path dealing 150 true damage. Well, Warhead's hero spell is basically the same, but it deals even more. So essentially, you have a Death Rider, like the OP version of the Death Rider, when you use Warhead. So you have a local Necromancer with you. And you love the Necromancer, so for you, he should be easy A tier. But let's be honest, Warhead, he doesn't really work properly, so we'll just stick with C tier for now. I really enjoy using his hero spell, but that's about it. Like, nothing really special about him. So next we have, okay, so let's rank Womanir first. So Womanir is, at least for me, the better dragon in Alliance. And I know that the majority think that Cosmere is the better hero, But for me, Lumineer has a slight edge. So let me try and explain why I think that Lumineer is slightly better than Cosmere. So the thing about Cosmere is his basic attacks deal physical damage. Like most of his abilities consist of physical damage. I'm not that big of a fan for that. While Lumineer, it doesn't matter what ability it is, it's true damage. Lumineer is just pure true damage. It doesn't matter what it is. Lumineer will deal with everything. Her Holy Sword deals 540 true damage, which is okay. Like, it packs a punch. I would much rather have it be higher, like around 1000. But the thing is that I find it a little bit wacky to use. Most of the times I would much rather have it target a behemoth, but it will just target a Blade Call Horror instead, which makes absolutely no sense, at least for me. So if the targeting was a little bit better, I would have been definitely happier. The thing about Lumineer, which I really enjoy though, is her hero spell. I think that her hero spell is easily the best one in Alliance. You have three paladins, yeah, three holy paladins, which each deal 400 true damage. Like it's between 360 and 440, which is usually 400, at least from my practice. You have the nightmares, the chained nightmares in the second act. You just place the hero spell and it will deal with three of the nightmares. Uh, the thing about the blue orbs is that they deal like 20 true damage to each enemy, which is just stupid. I basically leave that ability unupgraded since the damage is next to nothing. Like it just interrupts her basic attack. So just leave that ability unupgraded. It's not really useful. It cannot deal with glarings, with anything else. That's just stupid. I don't know why it does only 20 true damage. We'll not discuss it really. Another part about Lumineer is if you use paladins, she will grant them 30% armor and 60% thorns. So essentially, if you have a behemoth targeting a paladin covenant, he will get returned 180% of the damage he deals. So Behemoth deals around 120 damage on average. So he will receive 200 damage with each hit. And Paladins will not really take any damage either, since they already have quite high armor. And when you add 30% additional armor to that, you make the Paladins unkillable. The cooldown could be, I guess, improved, like the duration. I would much rather have it be longer than it is right now. But it's still a great ability nonetheless. It can definitely give an edge to your paladins or even grim raids and so on and so forth. It also pairs with your hero. Like, for example, if you use Warhead and Lumineer triggers her armor buff, Warhead now has 99% damage reduction. Uh, it's really funny to think about it. 90% damage reduction. So he basically has infinite HP when we exclude some of the enemies which deal magical damage, which can bypass all the armor. So let's not even talk about that. But yeah, basically that's about it. So we will start with, yeah, I think it's behind Vesnan and before Magnus is where Lumineer belongs. Definitely better than Magnus, but I think that Vesnan is overall more useful in Origins than Lumineer is in Alliance. I can see why some people would say that Lumineer is S tier, but in Alliance the hero balance is definitely better than those of the other games. It doesn't really have that many busted heroes. Okay, so now we have Cosmere. So Cosmere, he's basically the same as Lumineer. The thing is that he's just true power, as his voice line implies. Like if you need area damage or a way to deal with large groups of enemies, Cosmere is your solution. His spike ability, like I think it has around 30 or 35-second cooldown. It deals over 300 true damage to each enemy in a really large area. Basically, the area is the same as the one of Nairos's hero spell, but the cooldown is lower. You also have his hero spell, which is really insane. It's around 180 damage up to 8 enemies, which is okay. It's okay. Insane might be a stretch, but it can definitely help you when it comes to dealing with Glargings. You also have the insta kill, which is not really an insta kill. Like it just works for enemies up to 800 HP. Like if you have an enemy with more than 800 HP, the insta kill cannot be triggered. And it's also really funky to use since most of the times it will just target a husk and you don't really want that to happen. Also, the damage that the splash deals after the crystal gets destroyed isn't enough to deal with Glarings. Like, if the damage was enough to deal with Glarings, I think that he would have definitely placed hard than Lumineer. But if some people think that Cosmere is S tier, I'm completely fine with that. But at least for me, he isn't as busted as the S tier heroes. For me, both of the dragons are A tier. If you disagree with that, that's totally alright. I will not kill you. I will not curse you. I appreciate any opinions regarding that. But the thing is, he's just a really busted area damage hero, nothing more. For the Alliance standards, super, super good hero. And these two, easily the two best heroes in Alliance. Once again, dragons. Are we even surprised at this point? I'll put Therian for me because she's broken. Well, Therian has rifts which I really like, but I think that B tier is enough for her. Cosme is pure damage dragon, but he's way weaker than any. Yeah, when you look into the heroes that we have in S tier, like we have Ice Cold, Boneheart, Murgan, Dianian, Phoenix. Well, Phoenix is not a dragon, but you get the point. Like those heroes, those are some really busted heroes. They have game-breaking abilities. And well, these two, well, they are not really that great when it comes to the broken factor. Also, I know that a lot of people ask me about this. Well, I will just, I guess, rank him here. Yeah, we'll just place him here for the time being. Okay, so now that we've discussed everything, we'll do some slight changes. So if you would like to have any hero spots changed, let me know. I'll reconsider it. Well, I don't know. The debate is really big for Lumnir and Cosmere. Me personally, I think that Cosmere is slightly worse than Lumnir, but it doesn't really matter which one you consider to be the better one since both answers are valid for me. So what are we thinking? This is the final tier list. It took me like 2 hours to rank everyone. I was expecting me to take a little bit longer, but well, this is the Alliance Boneheart. This is his icon in Alliance, since he will be back in the October update. Like that's just a sneak peek. But just don't tell anyone that I've given you the image since it's in some cases prohibited to look at it. But we'll just act as if it didn't existed. So I think that the S tier heroes are really easy defined. Like we have Ice Cold, Boneheart, Murglan, easily the three best heroes. We also have some busted heroes like Wilbur, Dianian, Ignis, um, Durax, Iwara, Phoenix, Bruxa, all around just three broken heroes. Definitely make their respective game a lot easier. In A tier, we have the secondary hero which is the best one out of all the secondary heroes. I don't really know if she deserves to be S tier. I'll just stick with A tier. We also have Tenshi. Tenshi is Tenshi actually the best? No, Brooks is the best free hero. And then we have Tenshi. Well, that's fair, I guess. Um, Look, in the Ironhide Discord server, they already leaked Boneheart around 50 times. So at this point, I don't even care anymore. Look at this, just a wonderful image. So we have these two with the glitched hero spells, definitely A tier. Only insane 1v1 Veznan, who doesn't even like Veznan. You think that Dante is A tier? I don't know, when we get him we'll discuss it. Lumineer, Cosmere, insane heroes. for the standards of Alliance. Not as broken as the S tiers, but definitely useful. Then we have Magnus and the Pixie waifu, both of them just utility heroes. Personally, really enjoy Magnus. Not as much this one since the waifu has annoying voice lines. We also have the busted Ulrich. When it comes to 1v1s, he's the king. Rexan deletes everything, doesn't matter what. I will show the full list, I guess, in a community post. Yeah, I'll make a community post with the full list. How does that sound to you? Then we have where was I? Beresat, one of the weaker dragons, not as busted as these four. Anya, the best 1v1 hero in the game. Well, maybe the second best after Margoza, but you get the point. We also have Gerald, busted 1v1 warrior. Broden, Broden has alright abilities, but nothing really special going on for him, same as Nairo. Both really good heroes, but doesn't have anything that makes them broken, I guess. Um, Faultless, alright in itself. Uh, should I do a waifu tier list next time? I will consider it, okay? We can do one, we can do one. I think that it will be fun. Um, so we have the Black Corsair, one really useful secondary hero. I guess we have some debate about Dante on whether or not he should be A tier. I don't think that he's justified for the A tier. He has quite a high single target DPS. He can also buff your soldiers, but that's about it. He's just a single target machine, nothing more to add. Next we have Therian, S tier waifu, B tier character, Arivan, insane area damage. Like, who doesn't even love Arivan? If you hate Arivan, you have some issues. We have the Black Corsair, insane utility with the gold factor. Like, you can boost your economy so much with him that a lot of people underrate him. Then we have Eridan, insane 1v1. The dodge factor is definitely really solid. Doom Tank S tier? I don't know. I think that A tier is enough for him. I guess some people might consider him to be S tier, but I think that A tier should suffice for him. We have Haxo, the insta kill master. When I think about Haxo, I just think about insta kills. Mortemis and Isfet, basically a copy of one another. Insane utility, a walking barrack, something like that. Also the Magma, like the True Blood, or what it was even called, 75% damage increase, super good ability. Ingvar, a tank of really crazy proportions. He cannot even die when he's in his better form. King Dinos, insane area, I mean range damage, number one way to deal with flank enemies. Lin, Ragin, S tier waifus, and B tier characters overall. Next we have the C tier heroes. I will not go name every single one of them. Like, we have just average heroes, not the worst, not the best. They have their niches, use cases, but most of the times you'll be better off using the heroes in BA or S tier. Also, just want to give a quick disclaimer. If you're using any of these 6 heroes, you're not playing the game correctly. Like, they just make your game way too easy. From this here onwards, I think it's fair game, but if you're using one of these 6, that's just unfair for the game you're playing. Next we have the D tier heroes, underpowered, definitely deserve buffs to make them usable. Also they have abilities that work against them. Okay, you know what? Just for every single Cax enjoyer, we'll just place him lowest of B tier, okay? I just want to sleep alright, okay? So here, we'll just leave him at the lowest of B tier, and I hope that everyone is alright with that placement. And next we have the E tier heroes. Those are the trashy heroes. Basically, they contribute to some extent to your strategy, but that's about it. You have some extra DPS here and there. That's about it. And we have the F tier heroes, which, with them or without them, it doesn't really matter. The gameplay is basically the same. And well, That was it for everyone who stuck from the start to the end. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate your comments, your suggestions, and so on. I had a blast ranking all of the heroes. We will probably do the same for the towers a little bit later, probably this week. So here is the final tier list. We have the S tier heroes, the dragons, so on, easy. We have the A tier heroes, really great heroes, overpowered and so on. B tier, average, really solid heroes, nothing bad to say about them. Next, we have the C tier heroes, underpowered to an extent, but still usable. Thank you. I really tried to make my best with the list, so I really appreciate the kind words. Next, we have the D tier heroes. These ones definitely deserve a lot of buffs. You can use them, they'll get the job done, but you're just making the game hard for yourself. What type of tower are rocket gunners? For me, rocket gunners are barracks. I don't care what everyone else says. So for the E tier heroes, you're at least at this point you're challenging yourself. And if you're using any of the F tier heroes, well, props to you. You're a giga chat. So that was it from me again. Thanks everyone who joined the live stream. I hope to see you again for the tower ranking tier list, where we will be ranking all of the towers in the game. I don't know exactly how many of them are. I think that they're around 70, but we'll see, we'll see. So I'll be signing out for now. Again, thanks for stopping by. I hope to see you soon. Have a good and wonderful evening, day, or morning, depending on where you are. And that's it from me. Peace.